the meantime, let's go back to New York City. Want to get some updates on the case that is unfolding there regarding Sean Diddy Combs.
Kooky, and it seems like they're just leaning into it. Like there's no course correction at all. Just leaning into the kooky.
Yeah.
It's fun times.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Diddy Combs is back in the headlines, and this time it's not about his music, business ventures, or his iconic parties. The courtroom drama surrounding him has taken a sharp turn, with his high-powered legal team pulling out all the stops to challenge the evidence against him. But could this latest maneuver be the key to the music mogul walking free? The stakes are sky high as his defense team zeroes in on what they claim to be a massive procedural blunder by law enforcement, potentially setting a precedent that could shake the justice system. Let's dive into the details of how Diddy's top-dollar lawyers are flipping the script on prosecutors, leaving everyone wondering whether justice or power will ultimately prevail.
Exactly. You're just like, it's there. I mean, it's not just there. It's everywhere. My news feed is dominated by it. Fox News, CNN, everyone. There's raids at Diddy's house.
For months, Diddy has been at the center of a media storm, facing accusations that could dismantle his empire and land him behind bars for decades. The charges against him are as serious as they come, painting a picture of someone who allegedly manipulated, coerced, and orchestrated events that left a trail of trauma in their wake. His arrest back in September shocked the world, but as the investigation deepened, the revelations only became more disturbing. From claims of secretive gatherings to allegations of witness tampering, the courtroom battles have been nothing short of explosive. And now, with prosecutors fighting tooth and nail to keep him in custody, his defense team has unveiled a strategy that could change everything. At the heart of this latest legal battle is a pile of handwritten notes that were seized during a raid of Diddy's jail cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. These notes, prosecutors argue, are a smoking gun, a glimpse into Diddy's alleged attempts to influence witnesses and dig up dirt on his accusers from behind bars. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic didn't mince words, telling the court that these notes included plans to pay off witnesses and instructions to family members to gather damaging information on his alleged victims. For the prosecution, these notes are more than just scribbles on a notepad. They are evidence of obstruction that could justify keeping Diddy locked up until his trial.
So I would imagine if you're the CIA, you're like, okay, we're looking for people who have gone through these things in their life that have curated this kind of like personality type.
Well, isn't it just like part of the gig? Like here's a for instance, like your bit about Puffy.
But Diddy's legal team is having none of it. Led by Mark Agnifilo, a seasoned attorney known for navigating high-profile cases, the defense is arguing that the seizure of these notes was not only a violation of Diddy's constitutional rights, but also a breach of attorney-client privilege. According to Agnifilo, the notes were part of privileged communications between Diddy and his legal team, detailing defense strategies and private discussions that should have been off-limits to investigators. During a heated court hearing, Agnifilo declared, "The bottom line is that no multi-agency law enforcement initiative justified rifling through Mr. Combs' personal handwritten notes of conversations with his lawyers, and the prosecutor's arguments to the contrary lack all credibility."
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, their legal documents, the government saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
And it's not just lawyerly rhetoric. The defense is leaning heavily on the argument that the raid violated the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments of the Constitution, claiming that the search was unconstitutional and that the materials seized should never have been shared with the prosecution. The crux of their argument is that these notes were obtained during what they call an institutional failure, a pretextual sweep disguised as a routine search for contraband. Agnifilo has gone as far as to demand surveillance footage of the raid, suggesting that the search may have been specifically targeted at Diddy rather than part of a broader security operation.
I think it's over.
You think it's over?
I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment.
Right. But do you think it's over as him as far as like he gets a cell right next to R. Kelly?
I don't think so.
The defense's strategy is clear: undermine the credibility of the prosecution by framing the seizure of the notes as a reckless and unlawful overreach. If they succeed, it could deal a significant blow to the prosecution's case. After all, if the court agrees that the notes were improperly obtained, prosecutors may be forced to exclude them from evidence, potentially gutting their claims of obstruction and witness tampering. And for Diddy, that could mean a much stronger chance of securing bail, if not outright dismissal of some charges.
That's it. If it is privilege, of course they won't. But if it really is what the prosecution says that has nothing to do with the case, or even worse, it's actually evidence of witness tampering, because we all know the attorney-client privilege, there's a crime fraud exception. You can't use your lawyer to perpetuate a future or continuing fraud or crime. So if the documents are what the government says they are, they're going to get them again. And again, it's just going to be a matter of days, because I don't expect.
But the prosecution is standing firm, insisting that the search was conducted lawfully and that the notes are fair game. According to Slavic, the notes were obtained during a planned sweep by the Bureau of Prisons to address contraband and substances within the facility. She argued that no member of the prosecution team was aware of or responsible for the search, distancing herself and her colleagues from any allegations of misconduct. Slavic also dismissed the defense's claims of attorney-client privilege, pointing out that the notes included to-do lists and other writings that had nothing to do with legal advice. A witness was paid off, and finding dirt on 2 different victims is not privilege, she told the court, doubling down on the argument that these notes reveal a deliberate attempt by Diddy to obstruct justice.
So there's a few things going on. First is the privilege issue. The judge will decide whether the documents are privileged or not. If they're not, they're going to go to the government. If the documents are not only not privileged, but they're evidence of witness tampering, then a few things can happen, all of which are bad for Sean Diddy Combs. Okay. First, of course, he could face obstruction of justice charges in a superseding indictment.
The judge overseeing the case, U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian, seems to be taking a cautious approach. While he has ordered prosecutors to delete all copies of the notes for now, he has also decided to keep the original documents under court seal until the issue of privilege is resolved. This decision effectively puts the notes in legal limbo, leaving both sides scrambling to make their case. For the defense, it's a small but significant victory, as it buys them time to argue that the notes should never have been seized in the first place. For the prosecution, it's a temporary setback, but one that could have lasting implications if the court ultimately rules against them. The legal wrangling over these notes is just the latest chapter in a case that has already seen its fair share of twists and turns. Earlier this month, prosecutors accused Diddy of using his time in jail to orchestrate a public relations campaign aimed at swaying potential jurors. According to court documents, Diddy allegedly instructed his children to post a video on social media wishing him a happy birthday, a move prosecutors called a calculated attempt to influence public opinion. They also claim that he made numerous calls to potential witnesses, using other inmates' phone accounts to avoid detection. These allegations, combined with the notes found in his cell, paint a picture of someone who is willing to do whatever it takes to tilt the scales of justice in his favor.
He doesn't kind of buy what the prosecution's selling. He thinks they've looked at the notes.
Yeah.
He thinks that they're cheating.
I mean, I would think that too.
But apparently, what happened is commonplace.
But for all the damning allegations, Diddy's defense team has managed to keep the spotlight on what they see as flaws in the prosecution's case. Agnifilo has repeatedly emphasized that his client's rights were violated, accusing the government of overreach and misconduct at every turn. And with the judge now scrutinizing the legality of the cell raid, the defense is hoping to turn the tables by shifting the narrative away from Diddy's alleged actions and toward the government's handling of the case.
The 90s?
Music business? It's a lot of people.
It's not just the music business. It's the extortion business.
Well, yeah. I mean, the rap game was crazy. That's a thing a lot of people don't realize is like, back in the day, especially like early rap game, you weren't just going to play at, what's the random theater that you would play in LA? What's like a big...
It's a high-stakes gamble, but one that could pay off if the defense can convince the court that the prosecution's case is built on shaky ground. Already, the controversy over the notes has sparked a broader debate about the limits of law enforcement and the protections afforded to defendants, particularly those with the resources to mount a robust defense. Critics of the prosecution argue that the raid on Diddy's cell raises serious questions about the ethics of targeting high-profile defendants, while supporters see it as a necessary step to ensure that justice is served.
There's people on both sides, right? There's the people on the right that are trying to nail the people that are on the left with this. There's people that are journalists that are trying to nail the people that were involved in this.
This is it, yeah.
And they've managed to keep that list from coming out, which shows you how powerful certain people are. That should show you a lot. That should be terrifying.
As the courtroom drama unfolds, one thing is clear: both sides are playing to win, and neither is backing down. For Diddy, the stakes couldn't be higher. With his reputation, fortune, and freedom on the line, he has spared no expense in assembling a legal dream team to fight his corner. And for prosecutors, the case represents a chance to hold a powerful figure accountable for what they describe as years of unchecked wrongdoing. It's a battle of titans, with the outcome likely to shape not only Diddy's future, but also the broader conversation around justice and accountability in cases involving the rich and famous.
That's what people were saying, and maybe everybody's a conspiracy theorist now, but that's what people were saying about the Diddy situation. Like when the feds rolled up, with the Hummers and shit, they were like, it wasn't about Diddy, it was about if there were tapes of powerful people there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
They were the ones that called. They're like, I need to protect myself, so go in there with all the things and rip any tapes or any evidence.
The tension in the courtroom is palpable, with every argument, objection, and ruling carrying the weight of a trial that has captured the public's imagination. And while the legal sparring over the notes may seem like a procedural sideshow, it could prove to be a turning point in a case that has already defied expectations at every turn. As the judge prepares to rule on the privilege issue, all eyes are on Diddy and his defense team, waiting to see if their latest gambit will be enough to tip the scales in their favor. But as the legal drama unfolds, it's impossible to ignore the shadow of the allegations themselves, which continue to loom large over the case. The questions surrounding Diddy's conduct and the stories of those who have come forward to accuse him remain at the heart of this unfolding saga, setting the stage for what promises to be a trial unlike any other.
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
The story of Sean Diddy Combs takes an even darker turn when you peel back the layers of what prosecutors are calling one of the most disturbing cases to hit the entertainment industry in years. While Diddy's legal team is busy fighting over notes and procedural violations, the focus has begun to shift toward the heart of the allegations against him, and the picture being painted is anything but glamorous. For decades, Diddy was seen as the king of parties, the man who could turn any event into the most exclusive, talked about gathering in Hollywood. But now, those same high-profile events are being scrutinized as the backdrop for a pattern of behavior that prosecutors and accusers say went far beyond indulgence. What was once whispered about in industry circles is now being dragged into the public eye, and the details are shocking.
Someone said that they weren't there to take stuff, they were there to delete everything. Like the real people that were in there,
Oh,
like
that's
the same
funny.
thing with Epstein.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's start with the so-called freak-offs, the name given to the private, late-night gatherings that reportedly followed Diddy's A-list parties. These events were legendary, shrouded in secrecy, and attended by some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lopez, Beyoncé, and Jay-Z have all been photographed at Diddy's parties over the years. But according to court documents and witness statements, the real action didn't begin until the red carpet rolled up and the cameras were gone. Sources describe these after-hours gatherings as a completely different kind of party, one where the rules didn't just bend, they disappeared altogether. Attendees were allegedly handpicked by Diddy himself, and the guest list was kept so tight that even some of the most famous faces in the world were left wondering what really went on behind closed doors.
Of course. There's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers.
What makes these allegations even more disturbing is how meticulously these events were planned. Prosecutors claim that Diddy didn't just throw parties, he orchestrated them like productions, complete with assistants, security teams, and detailed instructions to ensure everything went exactly as he wanted. Witnesses have described hotel suites stocked with everything from high-end decor to supplies that leave little to the imagination. And while some guests may have been there just for the music and the atmosphere, others allege that they were pressured or manipulated into participating in activities that they never agreed to. These accusations have sparked outrage, especially given the power dynamics at play. When someone as influential as Diddy invites you to a party, saying no isn't always as simple as it sounds.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
One of the most chilling aspects of this case is the sheer number of people who have come forward, each with their own stories about what happened at these gatherings. Attorney Tony Busby, who is representing over 120 individuals, has been vocal about the scope of the allegations. He has even sent out demand letters to celebrities who attended these events, warning them that their silence could make them complicit. According to Busby, if you were there and you saw what was happening and you didn't speak up, you're just as responsible as the people who orchestrated it. His words have sent shockwaves through Hollywood, with many celebrities now scrambling to distance themselves from Diddy and his infamous parties.
Everybody who tells the stories like, I saw her go upstairs and these dudes are like right on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I go in this room and these guys are
Yeah.
like,
And pros. Like, apparently he was getting male gigolos to girls.
girls.
Yeah, that was one of the rumors, like the
Male
freak off. So he would
gigolos.
hire the professional to have with the girls, and I think he would watch allegedly.
But while some are staying silent, others have begun to share their experiences, some in support of the accusers, and others to defend themselves. Ashton Kutcher, for example, has admitted to attending Diddy's parties in the past, but insists that he never saw anything inappropriate. "I've got a lot I can't tell," he said during an interview, before adding, "I'm actually cycling through them." Diddy party stories? Man, that was some weird memory lane thing. Similarly, Ice Cube made it clear during a recent concert that he had never been to one of Diddy's after-hours gatherings, saying, "You ain't gotta worry about us on those tapes." Meanwhile, others like 50 Cent have openly criticized Diddy's behavior, with the rapper stating, "I've been very vocal about not going to those kinds of parties. It's just an uncomfortable energy."
Caligula.
Okay, so then there's the question. It's like, can you take a completely normal person, give them power, and then they become that? Or does it take a power-hungry person that has this void that needs to be filled, and then when they are given that power, you see the worst version of them?
Ask your CIA boy. I bet he's got the answers. I bet he knows the exact formula.
To corrupting somebody
Yeah.
or to...
What happens? Like, what happens to these people?
However, not everyone in Hollywood is rushing to clear their names. Some have chosen to remain tight-lipped, which has only fueled speculation about who knew what and when. And then there are those who have come forward with stories that seem to confirm the worst of the allegations. One particularly damning account comes from a woman named Tania Wallace, who claims she was flown to one of Diddy's events by a Saudi businessman. According to Wallace, the party was unlike anything she had ever seen, with attendees engaging in activities that she found deeply unsettling. Her most shocking claim? That she saw individuals who appeared to be far too young to be there, surrounded by adults in a setting that she described as anything but appropriate. Wallace's testimony has been denied by Diddy's legal team, who have called her credibility into question and dismissed her claims as baseless. The allegations against Diddy have also brought renewed attention to other lawsuits and accusations that have surfaced over the years. One of the most notable cases involves Cassandra Ventura, better known as Cassie, who filed a civil suit against Diddy last year. In her lawsuit, Cassie alleges that she endured years of emotional and physical abuse during her relationship with the music mogul. While Diddy initially denied the claims, a video later surfaced that appeared to show him physically attacking Cassie in a hotel hallway. The footage, which quickly went viral, has been described as a turning point in the case, giving other accusers the courage to come forward with their own stories.
Man, I ain't gonna lie.
Among the new accusers is Talia Graves, who claims that she was restrained and assaulted by Diddy in the early 2000s. Graves alleges that Diddy recorded the encounter without her consent and later showed the footage to others, a claim that his legal team has yet to address publicly. These allegations, combined with the mounting evidence from other accusers, have painted a picture of someone who allegedly used his wealth and influence to control and exploit those around him. And while Diddy has pleaded not guilty to all charges, the sheer volume of accusations has made it increasingly difficult for him to maintain his innocence in the court of public opinion.
Oh, man, I just had like a 3.5-hour cry.
What makes this case even more complex is the role that other celebrities may have played, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Photos and videos have surfaced showing Diddy alongside some of the biggest names in Hollywood, from Usher to Kim Kardashian to Paris Hilton. While it's unclear how many of these individuals were aware of the allegations or involved in the events described, their association with Diddy has raised questions about the culture of silence that often surrounds powerful figures in the entertainment industry. As attorney Tony Busby put it, this isn't just about one man. This is about a system that allowed this kind of behavior to continue for years without anyone stepping in to stop it. The broader implications of this case are hard to ignore. For many, it's a stark reminder of the power imbalances that exist in industries like music and film, where success often depends on who you know and what you're willing to tolerate. It's also a wake-up call for those who have turned a blind eye to the darker side of celebrity culture, choosing to focus on the glitz and glamour rather than the people who may have been harmed along the way. And for Diddy, it's a moment of reckoning that could change not only his life, but also the lives of those who have been affected by his alleged actions.
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he had to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70, that's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
As the trial approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Diddy's legal team is working tirelessly to discredit the allegations and poke holes in the prosecution's case, while accusers and their attorneys are determined to see justice served. The world will be watching as this case unfolds, not just to see whether Diddy is found guilty or innocent, but to understand what it says about accountability, privilege, and the pursuit of justice in a world where fame and fortune often seem to outweigh the truth.
Responsibility for what he did as an individual. Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility for that. He put that gun back in his...
And yet, even as the courtroom battle intensifies, the question remains, can Diddy truly escape the shadow of these allegations? For all his wealth and influence, the tide of public opinion appears to be turning against him, with many once loyal fans now questioning the man behind the brand. Whether or not he is found guilty, the damage to his reputation may already be done, leaving a legacy that is far more complicated than the one he spent decades building. As the spotlight continues to shine on Diddy, one thing is clear: this is a story that goes far beyond one man. It's a story about power, accountability, and the people who are finally finding the courage to speak out. And while the outcome of the trial remains uncertain, the impact of these revelations is likely to be felt for years to come. So, what do you think? Is Diddy's latest legal maneuver a genius move or a desperate ploy? And how much do you believe the allegations will impact his legacy in the music industry? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this unfolding drama. Until next time.